All right, let's just jump right in. We're talking about PR reporting for 2026, and honestly, there's a pretty tough pill to swallow for a lot of communications teams. Most of the reporting tools out there, they're basically dinosaurs. They were designed for a media world that's long gone, and because of that, they're just not cutting it when it comes to showing the real impact of all that hard PR work.
And look, this isn't just a few people grumbling in a corner. It's a massive industry-wide issue. Get this. A full 50%, half of all in-house comms leaders say they have a really tough time measuring their impact. That's crazy, right? 1 in every 2 leaders is basically saying, yeah, my tools aren't working for me. And the full quote here from that Cision and PR Week report really drives it home. They don't just call it an annoyance or a frustration. No, they call it one of their biggest professional challenges. So we're not just talking about needing prettier charts. This is a deep, fundamental problem about strategic ability. It's a huge gap.
So the big question is, why? Why is PR measurement so broken? That's what we're going to dig into. We'll break down exactly what's wrong, and then, and this is the good part, we'll look at what a real modern solution actually looks like. Okay, first up, the reporting gap. Think about it. Today's media environment is just lightning fast. Narratives pop up and change in a matter of hours, not days. But the tools we're stuck with, they were built for a totally different era, a much slower news cycle. That's the heart of the problem right there. These old school dashboards were designed for like quarterly reports. That was fine when you had plenty of time, weeks even, to sit down and analyze the story. But today, a negative story can catch fire and spread all over the place before you've even had a chance to run a report. That gap, the space between what's actually happening and what your report is telling you, it's become a massive chasm. And this problem with speed leads us straight into the next big issue. We're totally trapped by old, outdated metrics. There are 2 huge, fundamental flaws in how we've always done PR reporting, and they're stopping even the smartest teams from showing how much value they really bring. The first one is what I call the coverage volume trap. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. We've all done it, getting super excited about a huge number of clips. They're millions of impressions. But here's the reality check. Those are just inputs. They tell you how busy you were, not what you actually accomplished. Your CEO doesn't care about 1,000 clips. They want to know, did we make our brand look better? Did we steal some thunder from our competitors? Chasing volume for the sake of volume? It's a dead end, plain and simple. And the second flaw? The quarterly cycle problem. Just look at this timeline. A story starts to bubble up in week 1. By week 4, it's everywhere, it's pretty much set in stone. And then, 12 weeks later, the quarterly report finally shows up. By that point, the data isn't just stale, it's ancient history. It's like reading a history book. You're just documenting what happened. You're not getting a strategic tool that helps you actually change the conversation. So, yeah, the old way is broken. What's next? Well, that brings us to the new PR playbook. And this is a total mind shift. We're moving away from just counting articles and moving towards pulling out real strategic intelligence that helps you actively shape your brand's reputation right now in real time. So, the foundation of this new playbook is something called narrative clustering. Okay, instead of getting a giant overwhelming list of 500 different articles, imagine seeing the 3 or 4 big stories the world is telling about you. Let's say you're a new tech company. Are people talking about your game-changing AI? Or is the main story about your recent server problems? Clustering tells you which story is actually winning. It's about seeing the whole forest, not just counting every single tree. Next up, brand-centric sentiment. Look, a simple positive or negative score is pretty much useless. A glowing review at a top-tier trade magazine is worlds apart from a quick positive mention on a tiny blog, right? Brand-centric sentiment gets that. It weighs every piece of coverage based on its actual influence, the publication's authority, how prominently you're mentioned, social buzz, to give you a score that reflects real, tangible impact.
Then we've got dynamic share of voice. The old way of just counting your mentions versus a competitor's, that's a total vanity metric. What you really need to know is which arguments you're winning. Maybe you're crushing it in the conversation around sustainability, but you're getting totally left behind when it comes to innovation. This turns a boring percentage into a killer competitive intelligence tool.
And finally, this is the really new cutting-edge stuff, LLM perception tracking. That's large language model. Think about it. When someone asks ChatGPT or Gemini about your company, what does it spit out? These AIs are learning from all the news and articles out there. So the stories you're landing are directly training the AI on how to talk about you. This is a brand new frontier of reputation management, And honestly, most teams aren't even on the radar with this yet.
Okay, so these new metrics sound amazing in theory, right? But what do they actually look like when you put them all together? Let's peek inside a modern PR dashboard and see how it all works.
This table just nails the difference. It's a total evolution. The main thing you track goes from single clips to whole narrative clusters. The speed goes from monthly or quarterly to real time. And what you show your boss goes from a boring clip report to a powerful strategic impact score. The whole mindset shifts from here's what happened to here's the intelligence you need to decide what to do next. So, what should you actually see on a modern dashboard? Let's do a quick tour of the key parts that give you those game-changing insights right away. The very first thing you should see isn't a bunch of charts and clip counts. It's a top-level executive summary. It's one number, a clear, powerful impact score. How are we doing? Is the trend line going up or down? It's the 30-second snapshot your leadership team actually wants and needs. Then, right underneath that, you get to the most important part, the narrative cluster map. This is a visual map of all the big stories swirling around your brand. You can see in an instant which ones are growing, which are dying down, and how the feeling around them is changing over time. This is where strategy happens. And finally, you gotta have views that tell you about quality and what's coming next. So a publication tier breakdown shows you if your message is actually landing in the high-impact places that matter. And that LLM perception snapshot, that's your crystal ball, showing you exactly how the world's AIs are starting to define your brand. When you put all this together, it leads to a really powerful conclusion. Modern PR reporting isn't about creating a scrapbook of what happened last month. It's about giving you the live intelligence to go out and actively engineer your brand's reputation for the future. So the big question is, how does your current setup measure up? Here's a quick checklist. Does your tool show you narrative clusters? Does it track that dynamic, story-specific share of voice? Can it monitor what LLMs think of you? If you're looking at this list and checking off less than, say, 5 of these boxes, you're probably leaving a ton of strategic insight on the table. I really think this quote sums it all up perfectly. The comms leaders who are going to win, who are going to define their brand's futures in 2026 and beyond, they're the ones who see reporting as a strategic intelligence function, not just a homework assignment to document the past. And that really just leaves us with one final crucial question. Take a good, honest look at your dashboards. Are they built for yesterday's news? Or are they ready to help you win tomorrow's narrative?